Welcome. All right, everybody, welcome in. Kidder and Kev live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. I'm Justin Kidder. He's Kev Nash. Mr. Kev Nash, welcome.
What up, though?
Another off day yesterday.
Indeed. Go Reds, go Reds.
So, usually and selfishly, during the summer when the Reds, when they preempt the show, I'm like, good, off day. But when the Reds are winning, and that's what they're doing a lot of, I don't like to be off work. But that's where we're at, and that's a good thing. The Reds are off today, but we got a lot of baseball to get into today. Chatterbox Sports, Nick Kirby. Nick, I've known for many, many years. In fact, when I very first started in radio, one of my very first on-air guests was Nick, who does a great job covering the Cincinnati Reds. And he actually has a pretty cool story because the one thing that's interesting is, and we do this show, Kev, and I'm the program director and a sports talk. I just don't
sports guy.
I don't view myself as that. Like people, like at times I come across, and I'll admit it, not the most polished or professional on here, but I look at myself as no different than our listeners. I'm a fan.
Mm-hmm.
I talk just like I would, like, this is how you could ask Kev. I'm as annoying off the air as I am on the air, but like I try to keep it like I am who I am all day and on the air, because that's where my passion for sports comes from. I'm 5'5" and fat. I'm not athletic. I didn't play pro sports. So
how old are you?
For those, and I'm not 40, so I have that going for me. Joey Votto. So there's that. He's not 40 yet either. He has till September. So no. Nick is really cool because he's one of the most passionate Reds fans I know. But I can't call him just a fan anymore. And I'm not being disrespectful. Like, he was part of Red Leg Nation, does an awesome job with there, and he was the most passionate Reds fan through the worst years of the Reds, where I couldn't even stand the word Reds because they just ticked me off so much. But now he does this awesome podcast on Chatterbox Sports. It's actually one of the top sports podcasts on Apple iTunes and everything like that. They keep showing it moving up the
Nice.
chart list. So I'm excited to have him on. We're going to talk some Reds coming up here later on in the program. Tom Nichols, voice of the Dragons. We'll chat with him. We'll talk a little Reds, but more so about the prospects coming up through the system. Because I thought about this. I'm like, man, you might have, if Edwin Encarnacion Strain ends up being their first baseman of the future, you have your shortstop and third baseman and second baseman of the future. You have your catcher of the future. Pitchers are solid. You have weapons in the outfield. But like, when you think about, like, there's the Arroyo over the Dragons, and they have a lot of top middle infield prospects coming up through the system. I think, what did that one guy say? Where are you going to go? Where are these guys going to go? Now, you could always add depth and stuff, but keep in mind, you have some of these top prospects coming up. They're not looking to join the Reds and just be a pinch hitter or come off the bench. And maybe, I mean, now today's baseball, you could platoon a lot. I can't believe I'm joining the dark side and talking about platooning. If Nick Kirby, you're listening, you might be proud of me for that one. But me and Nick used to go at it on social media because I was very late to the party of the evolving of baseball. So I would call out Nick and others. I'm like, hey, stop nerding up the game, okay? Maybe I don't understand it, but then maybe that's why I don't like it. But maybe there's opportunities to prolong or at least get more out of guys. But the bottom line is the Reds have a lot of very good prospects coming up. All the great ones aren't on the Reds roster right now. There's still a lot of ones left coming up. So we're going to talk about that.
Nice.
Tom Nichols coming up. But, Kev, interesting, lots of stuff happening over the last couple of days. We were off yesterday as the Reds completed their third straight sweep. They knocked out the Rockies, as they should. I see people trying to discredit, well, the Reds, they didn't beat anybody. They beat you know how hard it is to beat even the worst teams in baseball? I mean, think about how bad the Reds were. The Reds went on a very long losing streak last year. Don't get me wrong, but, like, it's tough to even sweep bad teams. And that's kind of where we're at. One thing that's most fascinating is think about how baseball's changed, Kev. If you had a legit starting pitcher that you can get 7 innings out of, you're winning a ball game if your starting pitcher can give you 7 solid outings, because now you just need your bullpen to give you innings 8, 9, and you're good to go.
Right.
But now baseball is becoming so much more difficult to get wins in because even if you have a great starting pitcher, you're only giving him 5 innings, 6 at the most.
Right.
3 innings is a lot of time for your bullpen to blow a game up.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. Like the Reds, not the greatest starting pitching right now, but that's a lot of innings that you're giving to your bullpen that are keeping you in this. So baseball is just a very fascinating sport right now because, like I said, you could have the best rotation in baseball, but there's still 4 innings unaccounted for because your pitchers aren't going 7 anymore. They're going 5, 6 at the most, and that's 3 to 4 innings that you're having to rely on a bullpen and multiple arms. That means you have to rely every night on multiple arms. Think about this, what's going on. Alexis Diaz, arguably the best closer in baseball right now. His last couple saves, although he's kept this going, he's looked not that great. And I'm not being critical here. It's just like he's made it ugly. He cost me some money the other night. I needed the Reds 2.5, and they won by 2. go Reds, they're winning. I'm selfish, but it cost me a lot of money because I needed the Reds to win 2.5. And of course, he gave up that run and then strikes out the final couple batters. That's what he does. But he's looking a little bit more worn down. When you sprinkle losses in there, he's not needed every night. He looks more fresh when he comes out of the bullpen. But now that the Reds are in this 11-game win streak, majority of these are coming down to 1, 2-run, 3-run, save situations, and they're having to use him more than they'd like. So he's not looking as sharp coming out of the bullpen as he once was. So it's interesting talking about the fact that there are pros and cons to these winning streaks, right? This winning streak is exhausting the Reds, and I don't know one feels sorry for them, and we're enjoying this. But seriously, like it is exhausting this Reds bullpen because you want to keep this streak going.
Right.
But if you had a loss or two in there, that's a couple nights off more for, again, first world problems. Who cares?
Absolutely. Like you said, first world problems, 11 games in a row. They got the hats. The fans are in the good spirits. Obviously, the players are in good spirits. I mean, we get to talk about baseball because we didn't talk about baseball at all last summer. Like it was over before it started, last year. So these are good things.
Yeah, there's a couple people that last year were mad. You guys didn't talk Reds at all. I'm like, well, hold on. What's there to talk about? Well, there's a lot to talk about right now.
Yeah.
All right. Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. We're keeping it here, don't worry. But lots going on over the last couple of days, Kev. I'm going to keep it locked here. Headline or clickbait? Gotcha. News or not news? Real generic great stuff here coming your way from Kinner and Kev on 1410 ESPN Radio. All right, let's get into it, Kev. I'll throw out the news headline or the storyline, and we're going to determine if it's a legitimate headline, legitimate news, or just a clickbait, just a talking point, nothing of substance. Let's get to it. Memphis head basketball coach Penny Hardaway suspended 3 games for recruiting violations. News, not news, headline or clickbait. What say you?
Unfortunately, this is just clickbait. And I want to say it's news because anytime a major college coach gets suspended, it should be news. But college basketball, unfortunately, is back burner news. It's on the bottom pole. Like, let's say if he was suspended for March Madness, then that would be headline news because who's Memphis playing the first 3 games of the season? Me, you, a couple other people at the station. They're not playing nobody tough. They'll win those games if coaches out there or not.
Yeah, I mean, and when we talk about these recruiting violations, a lot of stuff that comes out, we don't even know what those violations are. And sometimes, to be fair, when you hear the violations, you laugh at, like, because our dislike for a Hardaway, maybe not us, but like some people who just think he's an AAU coach and he's bringing that same type of persona to a head coaching job in college where you're supposed to follow the rules when absolutely nobody does. But when he does it, he's the bad guy, right? So if you look at what the violations are, I'm sure we're all going to laugh at that, knowing what's all going on in today's college basketball. So the fact that it's only 3 games, I mean, to me, a recruiting violation, you losing your job, that's a legitimate recruiting violation. A 3-game vacation in the non-con, as you talked about, where you're playing a bunch of nobodies to begin with. Yeah, this is not the headline. This is not newsworthy. This is just clickbait. It sounds like a bigger deal than it is because, wow, a coach gets suspended. Penny Hardaway gets suspended for recruiting violations. This isn't that big a deal. Whenever he gets, let go or gets a show clause or anything like that, then maybe. But for right now, I have no issue with this at all. Whatever. Is what it is. Keeping it going, Kev. Headline or clickbait, news, not news. 3-time NBA All-Star forward Chris Middleton declined his $40 million player option with the Milwaukee Bucks to become a free agent. No matter what deal he signs will not be higher than that deal right there. You won an NBA championship there. You're playing with Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm asking you, but I'm basically on my tone. You could tell. I think this is a major headline. Like, what are you looking for? Like, how better could your role be? I mean, yeah, I don't know what's going on in Milwaukee with this situation, but I find this to be a major headline. I know Middleton's not the biggest name in the NBA, but he might be the best no-name Robin in the NBA as far as a guy that doesn't have all that star power. But I'm very shocked that he has opted out and is testing free agency, to be honest.
Yeah, this is a headline news, obviously, because it's his last year of his contract is worth $40 million. I think he's trying to get kind of how we talked about with Draymond Green, trying to cash in a couple more times before his career is said and done. He's been banged up the last couple years. Think back, they won the championship. After that, he hasn't been the same. He hasn't been the same player. Only has played, I want to say that year after they won the championship, they played like 50 games. And then this past season, he played under 40 games. So he's been banged up. So I'm not sure what the market is for him on the free agent side. I mean, I figured you would opt in to get that 40, run it back with Giannis, see what other players you can pick up and try to get back to the finals. So I'm curious to see who's out there that wants him at this age. I mean, he's not old, but he's like banged up. He's banged up all the time now, and that was something he was never known for. So I'm not sure what the market is for him right now, because you hear about the market for a lot of other guys, but you don't hear his name floated out there a ton.
And maybe because I don't think anyone anticipated him not opting
True.
in.
That's
But
a good point.
you are right. The Cavs, a name right away that gets mentioned, but he might be out of there. I mean, if he's turning down 40 mil and that's the starting point, the Cavs can't do that. And the Cavs shouldn't do that. But I don't mind the talent on the Cavs. I wouldn't mind him there.
That. I would love that for the Cavs.
I don't think he's a guy that you invest heavily into, because a year from now, when they can't make any moves, we're going to look at that contract and say, well, that's why. But we have talked about the fact that when you have Donovan Mitchell, and so many Cavs fans and media are so paranoid about, oh, he's going to be a Knick, he wants to join the Knicks. Well, that's 2 years from now. So if the Cavs, even if you know that he's not going to stay, you at least have him for 2 more years. Go all in for the next 2 years. You might accidentally find yourself with another championship post LeBron. So that's kind of where I'm at. Go all out, but I don't know if Middleton is the one to go all out for. We'll see what happens. Speaking of the Cavs, Kev, headline or clickbait, news, not news. The Cavs have inquired about Tobias Harris from the Philadelphia 76ers. And again, I see the look. I don't think the look is about the player itself as much as it is the contract, when you have to be very selective with who you go get. Kind of reminds me about the Middleton conversation we just had. It wouldn't be the end of the world to have a talent like that on the roster, but the money that it comes with that keeps you from getting other pieces, I don't think either one of those two names are worth it at this moment if the dollar asking price is as high as what we think it's going to be.
Unfortunately, Tobias Harris would be a good player to pick up for them, because he has this is the last year of his contract. So it's an expiring contract. So you bring him in, you need a three wing player that can play some defense and knock down threes. Tobias Harris can do that. So I was going to say I would rather have Middleton, but since Tobias Harris' contract is expiring, I would rather have him. So we give it a 1 year run. If he continues to play good to decent basketball, run it back again. If he's not, we can back in free agency and find somebody else to plug that spot. The player that I would prefer for the Cavs would be Kuzma. Kuzma, he's going to be a free agent from the Wizards. He's younger, athletic, championship experience. The only thing about Kuzma that you worry about is maturity. That's something you don't have to worry about from Tobias Harris. But you get Tobias Harris, you get that big contract situation too.
Yeah, Kuzma at least leaves you with a player that if Donovan Mitchell does leave in 2 years, you have Kuzma, a heavy score that with Garland, you still have weapons.
Right.
It's not going to be like the LeBron era where, oh man, you're going to lose Donovan Mitchell and now just become a lottery team again. No, you might lose Donovan Mitchell in 2 years, but you're going to have Garland and potentially Kuzma or whatever direction that they go in with this. We'll see what ends up happening there. Lots of NBA on this with the, lots of rumor with the draft tonight, which we'll get to. Dayton Flyers, Tumani Kamara, where will he end up? We'll be keeping an eye on that. Speaking of the Dayton Flyers, how about this one? I've always thought Obi Toppin was just such a laid-back, calm, and collected individual. And by the way, just because of the story doesn't mean that he's not. It just means the dude's been pushed to his limit. I give him credit. He's been a great teammate. He says all the right things to the media. I always rolled my eyes at Flyer fans who bash Thibodeau because I'm like, I'm going to go off of what I hear from Obi Toppin. And Obi seems not happy with not playing, but he has faith in Coach Thibodeau about, his NBA career. But apparently things weren't so cool, calm, and collected during the NBA playoffs. Tom Thibodeau and Obi Toppin allegedly had a heated argument following Game 4 of the Heat series, an argument that didn't even that took place so quickly after the game that players still had their jerseys on in the locker room. Obi Toppin saying that this mofo can't coach, calling him out in front of the entire team. And this is according to Fred Katz, by the way. Headline or just clickbait, news or not news, Kev?
This is huge news, not only because we're here in Dayton, Ohio. Look, man, I've been wanting to say this for quite a long time. Obi Toppin has higher ceiling than Julius Randle. He played better than Julius Randle in the playoffs. Now, obviously, Julius Randle, he just got surgery on his foot and everything like that. So that's one thing. But what I watched them lose to the Miami Heat and watch Obi get no burn and then I saw how much run that Obi was getting versus the Cavs. I'm thinking to myself, like, what's so different from the Cavs and the Miami Heat that he's not getting any burn? Then I started thinking to myself, like, man, they really got him playing like out of position. Also, they really have him playing like a three. He's not really a three. It's more of a 4 or 5. Is really, hey man, just hang out at the 3-point line and shoot threes. Like, that's really not his game, but he adapted his game. And to be able to do that, that means he's putting in a lot of work. So you commend him for that. But like, whenever he was put in that position, the Julius Randle role or whatever, he shined. He shined at that power forward position. So I truly think it's time for a new scenery for Obi, because he's not going to get the minutes that I think he deserves with the Knicks, because obviously Julius Randle is in that spot. You can't play both of them at the same time. You have Mitchell, the big man, the center that dominated the Cavs, unfortunately. But the forward spot, the 4 spot, that's where he's supposed to play. And Julius Randle's going to get majority of those minutes. So Obi, I have no problem with him voicing his frustrations. If he was just sitting there ho hum and doesn't say anything, I'll be more mad at him if he didn't say anything. Like, this is his career. You feel like he's wasting his time if he's not going to be out there on the court.
So I think that if Obi Toppin was not a former Dayton Flyer, I would say this is just clickbait, that this isn't that big of a deal. In my opinion, I think it's a big deal because it involves Obi Toppin. And I think I don't recognize Obi without a smile on his face. Last year, the TBT, it was really cool watching him and Jalen Crutcher come back and smile ear to ear, signed every autograph, took every picture with every fan. And even back to his playing days at Dayton, did you ever see him with a frown? Did you ever see him upset? I mean, I'm pretty sure he was upset when the COVID season was, when the NCAA tournament was called due to COVID. Pretty sure he wasn't happy then. But this is always such a happy-go-lucky dude. So that we're hearing this, I think it's a big deal here in the Miami Valley, because that's not the Obi that we know.
Right.
I think Flyer fans were more upset about Obi than what we thought Obi was upset about. But obviously, that's not the case. Here's the deal. Here's why, and I'm not hating here, but if he wasn't a Dayton Flyer, we'd all be saying, "Who cares?" I don't know what the ceiling is for Obi Toppin. I think that he could still, I think you give him heavy minutes. I think he could score. I think he could put up numbers. I think he could do a lot of things. You talked about him playing out of position a little bit ago. I think it's because of his ability to shoot the three. That's why you see him standing around a lot, but they don't take advantage of his athleticism and ability to get up and down the floor. It just doesn't seem to work in New York. And I said, when he was drafted by New York, back when the Knicks took him, I said, this is a double-edged sword. It's a great thing for the Dayton Flyers because you have the most popular player in decades with Dayton drafted and playing in New York. There's no better branding thing for the Dayton Flyers to have a guy playing in New York, right?
Right.
But you're playing in New York, and it's a dumpster fire of an organization. And even though they're taking steps in the right direction, they're still a dumpster fire of an organization that, it's going to take a few more years of winning before we believe in this group and this unit. Obi needs out. Obi needs to be traded. Obi needs to go elsewhere. And we're going to either find out if Thibodeau has just been sitting on talent this whole time, or if we're just being a bunch of Homer fans here in Dayton and maybe Thibodeau was right to not give him the majority of the minutes. I don't think we know. I think we know what we want to be the case. We want Obi to be a star. I don't know if that's going to be the case. We'll see what happens. And to be fair, Kev, he doesn't have to be a star.
Right.
But at the same time, we know he's not better than Julius. We know he's not better than the power forwards that they have. But he produces when he's out there. It could just be a backlog of talent type situation. But that's weird saying that about the Knicks. That's for sure. All right, last one, another NBA one. And this is about the big trade last night. Waking up to the Celtics send Marcus Smart to the Memphis Grizzlies as part of a 3-team trade where they acquire Kristaps Porzingis. Now, news, not news, headline, or clickbait. I'll go first on this, and I'm going to pour water on it because I've never seen a trade get so much love, headlines, and the blockbuster treatment for no blockbuster players. I don't know about you. I can't think of another trade that happened where everyone just went nuts in the NBA over no one's a title favorite because of this move. There was no elite player moved in this deal. It's a reshuffling of some things. And I like it. I think Boston looks more interesting now with this move, but I don't know if it makes them more or less of a title contender than they were this year or the year before. So I'm going to say it's news, but it's not like headline news, front, top of the page news or whatever. It's a big trade, but I don't think it's as a blockbuster of a trade as everyone's making it out to be. I'm a little taken back by that.
I think it's a headline move. I think this puts the Celtics as the team to beat in the East. I think this pushes them ahead of Milwaukee as the best team in the East. For me, look, I love Marcus Smart. I know a lot of people can't stand Marcus Smart. He's a flopper. I hate people that flop, so it's crazy enough that I love his game so much. This is the rare trade that I think it works out for everybody. The Wizards want to get worse, so you take their best player and you get him off the team.
Yep.
The best players on the Celtics all are guards. Every one of them, every good player on the Celtics is a guard. Jaylen Brown's a guard. Jason Tatum, he's a tall guard. Marcus Smart, he's a guard. Derek White, he's a guard. Malcolm Brogdon, guard. Derek White, guard. It's your 6 best players are all guards. You have to have some big people or tall people at that. You don't have any of that. So when the first report came down, it was Brogdon that they traded. Yep. And I was like, man, they fleeced them. They fleeced them. The Celtics are always fleecing people. Like, yeah, he won the 6th man of the year. He's a good basketball player. But, like, man, you got Kristaps for a backup. Like, you fleeced him. And then that deal fell through. So I'll go to bed, wake up. They traded my guy, M. Smart. No. But then I saw who they got, and I started thinking about it. I was like, they need somebody else. And not only is he a big man, he can step out and shoot the 3 as well. I think this opens the floor up for them. And this is something that Marcus Smart, he's a decent shooter, but he's not a knockdown shooter. So now you have a knockdown shooter that's a big as well. So I think it pushes the Celtics to the front. And this is the other part for the Celtics. The Celtics, their heart was Marcus Smart. You know how tame and laid back or chilled or whatever adjective you want to use for a Jason Tatum or a Jaylen Brown. The fiery guy was Marcus Smart. Those dudes are going to have to become that in order for them to get to the places that they want to be, because he was the one basically starting that, hey, don't let us get 1. Then they got 1. Then they got 2. And they got 3. And then unfortunately, they didn't get 4. But he's always been that fire, that engine, flopping all over the place, hyping the crowd up, being that rah-rah guy. Somebody else on that team is going to have to be that and to get them to the spot that they want, because when you got, like I said, a whole bunch of guards and a whole bunch of guys that basically are super chill all the time, even when they're on fire. Like, yeah, I made a 3. We're up 15. And they're not going crazy like a Marcus Smart was and hyping the crowd up. Somebody's going to have to carry that torch, because I don't believe that a whole bunch of just laid back guys can win a championship. So basketball wise, I think it works. But like the intangibles, somebody else is going to have to pick up that torch for the Celtics.
Yeah. My big thing on Porzingis is just the health thing. Like when I think, like, no matter, like when Zion, if he's playing for a new team next year, I don't know. I mean, it sounds cool, but I'm like, I need to see him play long-term without any injuries.
Right.
It's kind of like Anthony Davis. The reason that the Lakers, it shouldn't be surprising the Lakers got to the Western Conference Finals. When LeBron and AD are on the floor, they're actually a very good team. That's always been the case. But when the Lakers lose, AD's not on the floor, and that's the majority of the time because he can't stay healthy. That's kind of where I'm at with Porzingis. But it's hard for me to say, well, yeah, they're going to be great because he's going to be out there. I need to see more of it before. Did Michael Jordan buy the Wizards again?
No.
Are you sure? Because a lot of weird things are happening with the Wizards.
He never owned the Wizards.
But a very weird thing just happened with the Wizards.
What happened?
You clearly
now?
haven't seen it yet. The Washington Wizards are finalizing a deal to send Chris Paul to the Golden State Warriors for a package that includes Jordan Poole and future draft assets.
Wow.
Chris Paul bringing the ball to the floor. You got Klay Thompson. You got Steph Curry. You obviously have Draymond may not come back now. I don't know, because now you can keep Klay if Draymond leaves. So who knows what's going to happen with this, but a very interesting move. The reason I bring this up, I don't mind Jordan Poole going to Washington if the plan is to keep him alongside Kuzma and you have Porzingis and you have like these dudes that you could, but Washington went from tearing down and having no sense of direction to now you bring in Poole and you have Kuzma. Like, what are they going to do in this situation? A very weird move.
The thing in the NBA is that contracts have to match up, like money-wise. Like, you can't trade, I don't know, Steph Curry for, no offense, Seth Curry. They don't make the same amount of money. So you have to have the money match. And obviously, Chris Paul's made a good chunk. And they were talking about doing a buyout with him. But they went and got... they got rid of Jordan Poole the year after they gave him that big contract. I see Chris Paul coming off the bench, being the 6th man for them. I don't see him starting. I don't think you can roll out there with 3 guards that don't play defense anymore. Like, Klay used to be an elite defensive player. So did CP3. Age has caught up to him. The injuries have caught up to Klay. Steph has never been an elite defender. So I see him being that guy off the bench, that spark plug, and get them into their offensive sets and everything like that. But yeah, man, like once I think Draymond comes back now, like I won't say that Poole was the bad guy in this situation. He's the one that got punched, but like he's the brunt of this. He's the guy. He's the Dylan Brooks of this situation. Like, hey, man, it's your fault that we didn't make it back to the finals because you were terrible in the playoffs and taking girls out on dates, spending over $1 million on dates and things of like that nature. Go ahead, do your Googles on that. But yeah, I really don't have a problem with this, to be perfectly honest, man. They want more maturity in the building. The youth movement for the Golden State Warriors didn't work out. The only guy they got left is Kuminga. They got rid of Poole.
And he might be on the move too.
Probably. The youth movement didn't work for them. It just didn't. The young guys that they brought in didn't pan out. They were supposed to pick up that torch and kind of just keep this wave running. So now they're going to veterans like Chris Paul. Wow.
Well, we'll keep an eye. Hopefully some moves happen. Hopefully we see the next trade Obi Toppin. I'd love to see him in Cleveland. I think he makes
that wouldn't be bad for Golden State.
I love Obi. Well, someone did, to be fair.
That would be great for Golden State because he's the type of player that they need, like who they want Jonathan Kuminga to become. He's already that because he's had the years in college. He's played under Tibbs. He has the girth and everything like that. He knows where to be on the floor and everything like that. Jonathan Kuminga is lost in the sauce all the time.
Adam Selzner on Facebook says, "Would not like this as a Cavs fan, but Obi going to Golden State with Draymond leaving makes a lot of sense." So, yes, a lot of Flyer fans keeping an eye on what's kind of going on with Obi Toppin. That's for sure. All right, good stuff. Sean Matthew, Chris Paul of the Warriors for Jordan Poole. Thank you. Keith Tolliver keeping us updated as well. Lots of good stuff. A lot of NBA talk. Kev, I'm sure you're 26 minutes.
Let's get it on.
The Reds have won 11 straight. The Reds have won 11 straight. But look, this is the peak season of the NBA, the postseason, the free agency. This is where all the stuff happens. Flyer fans, we'll keep an eye on Obi Toppin. We'll keep an eye on what happens with Tumani Kamara tonight. Keep in mind, there was a team that was interested in Obi Toppin at the deadline last year. That was the Indiana Pacers. The Indiana Pacers are also a team that, according to multiple mock drafts out there, have the Pacers taken Tumani Kamara in the second round. Can you imagine two Flyers teaming up, Kev, Obi Toppin and Tumani Kamara? Look, I don't know what I'd rather see, them two Flyers going against one another or playing alongside one another. Either way, it'll be interesting to see where Tumani Kamara ends up later on tonight. NBA draft action.
Hashtag look up. Good thing we got cameras in here.
Yeah, exactly. All right, folks, let's talk a little baseball. On the other side, by the way, Nick Kirby coming up around the corner as well. The Reds are off tonight, but I have to ask, what are we? I mean, 40 wins, game and a half over the Brewers in first place in the NL Central, 3 straight sweeps, and they got a humongous showdown with the Atlanta Braves coming up this weekend. But the big question I have...
Shaw's Atlanta Braves.
The Shaw's Atlanta Braves.
Put something on it, Kenner. Put something on it, Kenner.
Scale of 1 to 10. Okay, the Reds are rolling. Are the Reds legitimate? Or is this just a hot streak? On a scale of 1 to 10, how legitimate are your Cincinnati Reds? Or when the honeymoon stage kind of dwindles down a bit and we're used to them winning series and ball games, because I'm not going to say it's going to happen right away and we're going to get bored with it. That's not what I'm saying. But eventually we're going to get to the point where they're winning and we expect them to win, but then we're going to get to that point where we did with Dusty Baker, right? Where, okay, well, yeah, we're good, but now we got to go to that next level. Well, I'm not rushing that. We're not there yet right now. But is what we're watching. I mean, we just watched the A's go on a huge win streak before this Guardian series, of course, right? But no one thought that, the A's figured something out. And I'm not comparing the Reds to the A's. But on the scale of 1 to 10, how legitimate are your Cincinnati Reds? Let's discuss on the other side. 518-1410. We'll open up the phone lines. We're live on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. We're live on ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. On a scale of 1 to 10, how legitimate are your Cincinnati Reds? We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Well, the forecast says a chance of showers in 63 tonight. Rain is likely Friday. We'll have a high of 76. And Saturday, a chance of showers and thunderstorms and a high of 86. Rick Shrimp for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code TRUST at checkout. That's harrys.com, code TRUST. Enjoy!
Your daily commute. You could do it alone. The downside is spending thousands each year on gas, parking, and vehicle maintenance, not to mention the air pollution you're causing. There is a smarter way. Introducing GoHio Commute. What is GoHio Commute? It's a free service with info on commuting options like ride matching for carpoolers, van poolers, and bike poolers, and links to local public transit providers. Go to MiamiValleyRideshare.org or call 223-SAVE for details. GoHio Commute, a smarter way.
Obi Toppin here. Are you ready to hoop it up with me?
Registration is now open for the CareSource Obi Toppin Basketball Pro Camp on August 1st and 2nd at the University of Dayton's Recplex. Obi will be on site for basketball skills, drills, and fun. Register at obitoppincamp.com.
Can't wait to see you there.
Spots are limited. Reserve yours today at obitoppincamp.com. Obi Toppin and CareSource are proud to provide camp scholarships in partnership with the East End Community Center.
Summer rib season is back, baby, at Frickers. Join us for the perfect pairing of frickin' chicken chunks and baby back ribs together all summer long for only $14.99. Bring the whole family as kids 10 and under eat free from the kids menu all day, every day. Spend time with the family. Enjoy frickin' chicken chunks and baby back ribs all summer long for only $14.99. And kids 10 and under eat free only at the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
FX's Mayans returns for the final season.
When I said I bleed for you, I meant it. Our enemies have finally shown some life.
Experience the intensity of one last ride.
They came to my house and threatened my family. We're done.
No, just getting started.
FX's Mayans, the final season, all new Wednesdays on FX. Stream on Hulu.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I think my battery's dead.
With free battery testing and charging, AutoZone is here to help.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
What if I need a new one?
We have the right batteries right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone.
And what if I don't know how to connect it?
No problem. We have a how-to for you at AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. Excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
Alpha Media Dayton, a leader in digital and broadcast media marketing, has a rare opening in our sales department for a hybrid integrated marketing consultant. If you're a dynamic individual who knows how to build successful partnerships and has a passion for helping local business drive more customers, send us an email, DaytonJobs@alphamediausa.com. That's Dayton. 937-519-0111. Alpha Media is an equal opportunity employer.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
But do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing. No, Dark put it right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish. Sounds easy. It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Wendy's drive-thru is open until midnight or later for all your late-night cravings. So, give in to what you want and order a Baconator even later. Hours may vary at participating U.S. Wendy's.
Dayton sports fans, don't forget to follow and subscribe to ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. Listen, watch, interact. Search ESPN Dayton on YouTube.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Austin Kinner. Cincinnati Reds are off tonight. We'll be back in action tomorrow as they have a huge showdown with the Atlanta Braves. In the National League. The Reds, right now, it's funny, they showed a graphic a little bit ago that I posted on Facebook. It was basically just kind of highlighting the hottest teams in baseball right now. And what's wild about all of this is the fact that two of the hottest teams in baseball coming out of the National League are going head-to-head tomorrow, and the Reds have to play. So, with the graphic that came out, active MLB winning streak, the Reds 11 straight wins, Giants 10 straight wins, and the Braves have won 7 straight. The Braves, one of the two, will have their win streak to the end tomorrow night on 10 ESPN Radio. So, with that being said, at times, we see this in sports a lot. Teams get hot.
Yeah.
Teams get hot. We talk about postseason from time to time where, and you'll see this in baseball, the teams we're talking about a lot about right now won't be the teams we're talking about in October. Sometimes that team that gets hot in September that takes that momentum in. Like, for instance, right now the Reds, if we were heading into the postseason, I feel really good about the Reds' chances because it's all about peak of where you're playing. The Reds can maybe still be a 500 ball club coming out of the All-Star break. They just might do it with less flair, with less excitement. Who knows? I'm hoping that's not the case. But I can't tell. What I can't get a good feel of right now, Kevin, is where is this team at in regards to the identity? Their identity is that they're young. Their identity is the starting pitching is not very good. And at some point when we get to the honeymoon stage, we're going to be left with the real identity of who this team is. They're winning despite their deficiencies. I saw a stat yesterday. No team has ever won 10 straight games where they have been out-hit and they've walked their opponent. They've walked, or they've allowed their opponent to get more walks than they have. So their opponents are drawing more walks than they are, and they're out-hitting. But the Reds have won 11 straight. Never seen anything like it, but that's where we're at. And what I can't get a good feel on, is this team just a hot team right now, or is this a legitimate team? You expect not the way, but it's kind of hard to get a good feel of right now. We're watching them win despite their deficiencies. What happens to their deficiencies catch up with them? That's what I'm
Like I always say, man, I'm a person of averages. I'm not a person that says, "Oh man, your best, your career high is that's who you are, or your career low is who you are. Whatever your average is, that's what you really are." Them being such a young team with so many young players on the roster, it being so early in the season, I know it's our job not to say I don't know, but I would go more along the lines of we're still finding out who they are. Every team gets hot. Every team goes on a winning streak in baseball, especially if the season's so long. It's hard not to go on I mean, it'd be terrible if you can't win at least 4 games in a row in the regular season in the baseball season. I mean, come on, it's 100-something games, 100+ games. So for them to get this hot streak right now, 11, potentially going for 12, there's nothing wrong with that, but I think it's too early to even find out, like, because they're so young. And I know it's like that old adage about, man, they're so young, they don't even know what they're doing yet. Like that weird thing that they always talk about. But I think it's of true. Like, they're really just playing the game, and ideally, that's where you wanna be because you are such a young team, and I think that's why they were able to bring Joey Votto back, to bring him into the clubhouse, to bring some of that veteran leadership. I know we, as fans, we just look at everything on paper and like, "Alright, this player does this player does that, yada, yada, yada," but there's more to these sports than just what's on the piece of paper, so that veteran leadership that Joey's bringing to the team, I think is vital because there's so many young guys that play big roles for them right now.
Yeah, that might play a role down the road.
True, true, true.
His presence may come into effect more when
Yeah.
when I mean Matt McClain's almost 30 games in, 30 plus games in. So much has happened in the last month. I mean, I feel like they like all that forever. They're only what 10 plus 11 or 14 games with him since he's been called up.
I was just
Sat
about
one
to
of those.
ask you that. I was about to ask you, did this streak start before he got there or while?
So
Okay.
it's kind of picking up because they lost twice.
Losers.
So his experience of losing is 2 games. But the bottom line is that seems like a while ago, and Votto's debut seems like forever ago, a season debut that is. So yes, I think Votto's veteran presence could play a role at some point. He has experienced a lot of losing, so he'll be able to talk him through the losing. I'm joking. All right, so with where we're at right now, the Cincinnati Reds. The reason I asked is they're 40 and 35. They won 11 straight, and they were the hottest team in baseball. And 10 straight wins for the Giants, 7 straight wins for the Atlanta Braves, and all those win streaks will be on display tomorrow. When 2 of those 3 teams go ahead. The Reds at 40 and 35. The reason I asked, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident, how legitimate are the Cincinnati Reds? At 40 and 35, they will be 4th in the NL West. They would be behind the Dodgers, Giants. In the NL East, they would be 3rd in the NL East. In the AL West, they would be second to last in the AL West. In the AL Central, they would be in first, which is about the Central Division, both being really average. And then, of course, in the AL East, they would be 1 game. They have 1 more win than the Boston Red Sox, so they wouldn't be last there, but they still would be double-digit games back of that. So I'm not here to water or rain on anyone's parade by any means or to water down what the Reds have done. I'm just saying, like a lot of people, if we weren't Reds fans, like when we hear that the Giants are on a significant win streak right now as well. They've won 10 straight. How come we're not? We don't look at the Giants the same as the Reds. They're both double-digit win streaks right now. We're invested in our team. We love our team. So we think everything they do is on a pedestal, right? I don't know. On a scale of 1 to 10, how legitimate are the Reds? I'm going to say a 6. I'm not being negative. I do think that what we're seeing, they were winning because of their strengths, despite their deficiencies. And you can say that about any team, that they're winning because of their strengths, despite their deficiencies. But I don't think we have really looked at how bad those deficiencies are. Starting pitching is brutal. It is not very good. Abbott has been, and it's not because they're not a good starting rotation. They're just banged up. But if you take injuries out of it, you can rely on 100 goals. Well, and then get here and there, whether it's Lively or whoever. It is interesting following this team. When they get healthy, if this team is fully healthy and they're winning with starting pitching, complemented by the bullpen, and they're 6 runs a game throughout the stretch, I would be more all in. But I need to see how this team handles adversity. They're rolling right now, 11 straight wins. They've told how great they are. They're all over Sports Center. They're all over Fox. They're all over every national sports show out there.
Talking to SBC after game.
Yeah, I heard John Sadak did an awesome job. Him and Tommy Draw, the radio voice. Sadak on TV and Draw on radio. I can't watch a national show with a clip where I highlight from the Reds watching these shows. They're all over the place. They're feeling themselves as they should. But what happens when they get something to nose? What happens when they go on another little mini streak where they drop that series or whatever? Are they able to pick themselves back up? Are they able to battle through some of those lulls? You could argue that they already have, starting the season with and after being swept by the Pirates, the baseball they've taken off and dominated today and now as we're heading into June. But I do worry. I'm going to say a 6 right now because I don't think the Reds can sustain what they're doing with the way this roster is built. They can't sustain this win streak with the bullpen eating the majority of the innings and being responsible for the heavy lifting. That just is not realistic. That's not being negative. That's not about bearing the Reds. It's just the reality of it. You have to have starting pitching in the postseason. The Reds, we know what they're capable of, but they got to get healthy. So I'm going to say a 6 for right now. But if they were winning, had 11 straight wins, and their rotation was healthy, and bullpen was rocking with the run support they're getting from the rookies and everything, I'd be saying a 12 of 10.
Wow.
I'm saying a 6 because they're grinding out wins. You can't grind out a World Series. I can't see them being able to grind out July, August, September, and then a run in October. You can grind it out with that starting pitching. They cannot grind it out without having it started. So, I mean, look, if you look at right now, Alexis Diaz, arguably the best closer of baseball, he's had back-to-back, outings where he has looked not very good. Now they come away with a win, which at the end of the day doesn't matter. But he looks tired. He doesn't have as much step on his stuff as he did to start the season. He used a ton in these situations. No one's complaining. You have that weapon, but I don't think you can continue using him at this rate throughout July or August or September, and they have to get him right come October. I see.
So check this out. The 2006 Cardinals won the World Series. They only won 83 regular season games. Crazy. Exactly. Minnesota Twins in 87, they won 85. Won the World Series. Is that the Kirby fucking team?
Ron Howard on Facebook says the Reds are really fun to watch. All I've been doing in the hospital. The Reds. I haven't figured out how to shout out to it. Just sit there. You have nowhere else to go.
Oh,
Ron,
goodness.
say, let me hear go Reds. Now Ron's doing well. I appreciate Ron listening, and but we'll get to him in a moment.
Thinking about you, Ronnie.
Dan Flouty on Facebook says a strong position. He says 6 on a scale of 1 to 10. How legit are your Cincinnati Reds? Strong. He says 6. Strong position players and good bullpen. Need a lefty in the bullpen and at least one above average starting pitcher. Central is garbage this year, so 85 wins might take it. I projected about 85 wins or 80 to 85 wins coming into this season. Everyone thought I was crazy. I didn't think they'd be this good. And 85 wins would be enough to flirt with the wild card, right? Or 80 wins would be enough to flirt with the wild card. But Dan is right. 80 to 85 might get you the division. Said and done. Continue to go down the list. Scott Whetstone, he says a 7. A 7 on the Reds. We don't know how our starting pitchers will perform in a playoff series. Only time will tell. We may not even sustain this level of winning in the long run. Go Reds. Leave my guy David Bell on. I'm all for David Bell right now. I have no complaints. Never thought I'd say that. 2 years ago, I never thought I'd say that.
So you watch the game. What is he doing differently than he did 2 summers ago when you were ready to drive down to Cincinnati on a daily basis and square up with him?
This is going to be my professional take. They're winning. As I've said, I've never managed Major League Baseball. I don't know more than David Bell. But what I do know is that the sport existed for centuries before David Bell got here and tried to reinvent the wheel with all the beyond annoying analytical approaches that managers use now. But I'm like, okay, you want to use analytics to support your to justify certain moves in that you've made, pulling pitchers when you do, changing the lineup every single day, all that stuff. If you do that, you're winning. You won't hear a peep from me. But what I don't like is when you keep making all these changes and nothing's working, and they were losing with talent. The season I'll never forgive him for is that 2020 season when you had hitters up and down that lineup, you had good starting pitching, you had weapons in the bullpen. These guys weren't performing, and that at the end of the day, that fall back on the manager. But right now, he has a team of all rookies buying in. He has a team of all rookies buying in. He has starting pitching that's horrible, and the bullpen is overcoming those flaws in their winning ball game. So David Bell is pushing all the right buttons. The people that are giving him crap right now, stop. I don't care about the struggles in the past. Young manager, first-time manager, now taking over. Now he looks more like a seasoned vet that has control of his group. I'm a big fan of David Bell. Zach Taylor and David Bell.
Favorite guys.
Let's see what else. Sean Matthew, he says the Reds are at a 9 because they had been playing this way since late April. They can score in multiple ways, so the offense shouldn't go in for long slumps. The patchwork rotation should get even better with Abstract being back. The Reds are ready for a long time. All right, not bad. Not bad, actually. You're right. It's not like they started scoring runs because because of McLean and Ellie De La Cruz. They've just enhanced what they were doing before. They were putting up runs before. They're doing it better now, so that's good. But like this team has been playing gritty and tough all season, even before the call up of some of these main guys. And starting pitching, they could get better without making a move. And the cool thing is, Nick Kroll did say that they would be active at the deadline.
Active.
Not the way that we Reds fans are used to Reds being active at the deadline. Could potentially be adding and not subtracting. So there's that. But Sean Matthew, thank you.
Get active.
David Shaw. He's going at it with Justin. He's a Pirates fan, but Shaw as a Braves fan said, as a Braves fan, am I allowed to answer? Is he allowed to answer?
Yes.
All right, Shaw. You're welcome to answer. He said,
Only if you're over 40.
all right. Well, let's see. David Shaw continued to argue with people.
No.
Sean Matthew, because whatever I say, Justin will say it's valid because I'm a Braves fan. First of all,
It's not because you're a Braves fan, it's because you're a Michigan fan. Get it right.
Scott White still wants to see the Reds bring in Chapman. That BS him as closer, and it has to be. I just said, look, it's a 9-inning game. Shrink it to 7. You have Chapman who can man the 7th and 8th innings. You have Diaz there to close it out. All right, that's it. Kenner and Cav, 1410 Wing AM. Continue to leave your responses in the chat section, the Justin Kinder Show Facebook page, ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. Great stuff. On a scale of 1 to 10, how legitimate are your Cincinnati Reds? Is this a legitimate contending team, or is this just a team experiencing a hot streak? Scale of 1 to 10, comment section is open for you to leave in your response, and we'll get to some of those on the side. We have Nick Kirby coming up around the corner. We'll talk about the Reds. Tom Nichols, the voice of the Dragons. Here on Cap.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Baseball season is in full swing, and there is no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. Just go to FanDuel.com/Kinner to join today. With how the Reds' young stars are rolling right now, I'd focus in on the in-game parlay, looking up performance rates on Jonathan India, Matt McLean, and Ellie De La Cruz. So don't miss your chance to snag a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. Just go to FanDuel.com/Kinner, KINNER, to sign up. FanDuel, official partner of Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission. Must be 21 and older and present in Ohio. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued with non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Moving to Georgia, Davis Podiatry Clinic's top nurse quit, leaving her business closed up. And she needs a new RN. Indeed, you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates who match sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 for your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Midnight only, so you can get into the crazy night mode. Now all of your favorite community items just got their bedtime. You can get it on even later. Or the perfect price across the board. If you're up later, so are we. So go ahead and do it the drive. When the craving hits, night mode at Wendy's. All right.
O'Reilly.
Did you know 1 in 4 car batteries is weak and needs to be replaced? O'Reilly Auto Parts will test your battery for free. If your battery needs to be replaced, our professional parts people can help you find the right superstar battery for your vehicle and budget. Don't wait. Get your battery tested for free today at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly.
You know that Big Burger detergent jug is 85% water, right? 85% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big. If you want a better claim, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure concentrated cleaning ingredients. Oh, pass me the Intercom thing. You want the real deal? Try Tide Pods. Don't pay for water. These are clean. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Pods.
Water content based on clean market liquid detergent. Do you or any of your family members, neighbors, or friends own a property that you just want to be done with it? If so, call Chatterbox Realty today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you to take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. Call 614-470-2000. That's 614-470-2000.
Is electric. We look to the future. Our name may have changed, but Harley-Davidson Senior has been locally owned since 1984. Under our new management, the store are buzzing to get you set up for the open road. Whether you're shopping for merchandise, a new bike, or just need some maintenance on your current ride, Harley-Davidson Xenia is here for you. Visit us online to learn more and to place a reservation on your new bike. HDXenia.com.
QC Kinetics provided amazing pain relief for a former professional baseball player, and you have access to the same life-changing treatments as retired Braves pitcher Jose Alvarez.
I had a lot of stress and strain and work on my right arm, but my right elbow took most of the damage with 3 surgeries.
Arthritis developed, and the pain was unbearable.
It wasn't just pain when I was trying to play sports. It was anytime I was moving the right elbow. It was pretty excruciating at times.
That's when Jose discovered QC Kinetics and the regenerative treatments that help the body heal itself, restoring damaged tissue and providing relief with no surgery or downtime. Jose's message to the medical professionals at QC Kinetics:
My elbow is feeling outstanding. Where were you 10 years ago, for crying out loud?
QC Kinetics is right here. Call for your complimentary consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325.
Staples stores provide innovative products and services for small business, remote workers and learners, even teachers and parents. Explore more at your local Staples store.
The Reds are on the road taking on the Atlanta Braves. The entire 3-game series right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Justin, Kevin Nash. Appreciate the interaction on the social media side of things. ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel, Justin, Facebook page. Go and check those out. Subscribe, follow along, and do some of the interaction. Scale of 1 to 10. How legitimate are the Cincinnati Reds? Not a team of baseball. It's just a hot streak. It's this team legitimate. That's what we want to discuss. We were talking about that coming up. Nick Kirby, that was here on the other side. Nick Kirby, and of course, Chatterbox Sports, and does a great job with this podcast. We started the baseball season. They go live every week. Instant reaction. Luckily, baseball is only 17 games, so that's football. Now, if you do that for football, more power to you. Whatever, but the dedication from Nick Kirby and the guys, they do a killer job. At the end of every game, West Coast trips, East Coast trips, maybe too. So he's doing it all. I don't have a kid at home. I'm tired all the time. I appreciate it. Nick Kirby joins us next. Talk about your Cincinnati Reds. We have an hour number 2. Right now.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-330-1991. That's 1-800-330-1991. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-330-1991. SelectQuote. We shop, you save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercial.
I don't know what I want to do. I'm just not sure that college is right for me. Have you considered a career in dental assisting? I love my job as a dental assistant. I have flexible work hours, the money is good, and I get to work in a professional, people-oriented dental office. What I really love about my job is knowing that I give people a healthy smile.
For more information about becoming a dental assistant, contact your high school guidance counselor. Or if you are no longer in school, talk to a dentist in your community or visit ODA.org. This message is brought to you by the members of the Ohio Dental Association.
You can throw your flip-flop in the glove. You cannot get it. But the chances of actually hitting it are statistically unlikely. Good thing nature's got your back. Some bug killers combine powerful active ingredients found in plants, like lemongrass and geraniol, and scientifically engineer them into effective bug-fighting formulas, safe for use as directed around people, pets, and throughout the home. STEM, rooted in nature, optimized by science.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. Like Marco, president of operations at Kelly Tires and Auto Centers.
ZipRecruiter helps you find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Now try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/FREE. Most working rates are only $1 at Speedway. That price is just a cherry on top of a frozen cherry flavored treat. Slurpee, anything floats. Expires 12/31/25 free plus tax for the store for details.
Dayton sports fans, for more local sports content, be sure to subscribe to Dayton's ESPN Radio YouTube channel. And don't miss the Miami Valley's only local sports talk show, The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 Wing AM.
The TBT on WING is returning this summer. Carmen's Crew is also returning, the alumni team for the Ohio State Buckeyes. We're pretty jacked about that. We're going to have all Carmen's Crew Ohio State games here on 1410 Wing AM. As far as the Red Scare is concerned, you can watch other games on ESPN's family of networks, or go to the arena to watch some of your former favorite Dayton Flyers, including they just can't seem to get it done without a Wright State Raider. How about AJ Packer?
Really?
Yes. So
wow. When did that news come down?
They didn't really announce it. They only announced when they had former Flyers. But you had a Raider. They don't want to admit that they need the Wright State Raiders' help to win these tournaments. So
Raider up.
That's why. But no, I love the TBT. I love the nostalgia of it. And I'm really looking forward to that, to having the TBT on WING once again. All Carmen's Crew Ohio State Buckeye alumni games right here on 1410 Wing AM. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash, off and rolling here. And interesting. So the Reds are off today. But I feel like that hasn't stopped us from talking all things Reds baseball. We're going to have Tom Nichols coming up around the corner, the voice of the Dayton Dragons. We're going to talk about, what's wild with all the top prospects that have been called up to the Reds roster. There are a couple left in the system, and by a couple I mean lots. And we're going to talk about that with Tom Nichols coming up here in a little bit. All right, so the Reds talk that we've had to start the show today, on a scale of 1 to 10, how legitimate do you believe your Cincinnati Reds are? Is this a team that is just in the midst of a hot streak right now? You know, you saw the graphic we posted on Facebook a little bit ago from ESPN social media channels that the three hottest teams in baseball right now as far as win streaks are concerned. Obviously, the Reds lead it with 11. The Giants have won 10 straight. Obviously, when you look at what the Braves are doing, winners of 7 straight. Well, the Braves and the Reds, one of those two teams' win streaks will come to an end tomorrow night at Great American Ballpark. And I have heard from so many people that I haven't heard from in years asking for tickets. I thought I had lost connection with these people, but apparently they do remember my email and phone number. It's just wild. But the Reds are back, baby, and that's what makes this fun.
Oh, man, I got nothing, because if I say what I want to say, I'll get in trouble.
All right, let's talk Reds, shall we? Good friend of the show. We got Mr. Nick Kirby hanging out with us. Nick, how are you, my friend?
Hey, Justin, doing well. Thanks for having me on during an 11-game win streak.
And an off day. That's very important during this stretch. Hey, so it's funny. We have Tom Nichols coming up in a bit, but him and I earlier today just talking about what we were going to kind of cover on the show today. One thing that was interesting that we talked about was the fact that, hey, no one's going to complain about a win streak. No one's going to complain about 11 straight wins. But when you win this much, it does bring up a lot of interesting angles that we don't think about. For instance, you know, when you lose some games, you give a little bit of your bullpen a little rest sometimes, or you don't use as much of your weapons. But when you're using Alexis Diaz as often as you are, there's really been no time to give guys breaks, because even with the Reds winning, they're coming from behind. They're winning close games. They're not dominating anyone by any means. It is interesting looking at it from that perspective. Like Diaz, even though he's keeping the streak, his closing streak going, the guy looks gassed when he goes out there. If there's anyone that needs an off day or 2 or 3, it's obviously him.
Yeah, he's absolutely looked gassed, and it's just incredible that he somehow kept that streak alive. It's been teetering, though. I think David Bell deserves a lot of credit for keeping these guys fresh. There was several times earlier in this year where, like, Lucas Sims only got used for a few pitches, and I know a lot of people were really upset about that, but I think that you're now seeing the culmination of this season, and like you said, the streak was obviously unexpected, but I think they have done a pretty good job keeping these guys fresh, and guys like Buck Farmer have just been so maybe underappreciated on this team. That he's come in early in the game, he closed the game out yesterday. They've really used a lot of guys in a lot of different roles, and almost all of them have thrived.
Nick, so we throw out the question kind of about on a scale of 1 to 10, like how legitimate are the Cincinnati Reds? You said it, no one expected this win streak. I mean, there's, significantly better rosters as far as constructed wise goes in baseball that don't expect 11-game win streaks, but it's not just about the win streak. Nick, when you think of all the losing that this team has done and all the struggles and deficiencies that we've experienced with this franchise over the years, it's not just the win streak that has fans excited. It's just the brand of baseball that they are playing. But with the rotation being as banged up as they are, with how many innings they've had to rely upon the bullpen to come and save the day, you have a ton of rookies who are producing at the moment, but we keep waiting for reality to kick in and for baseball gods to remind them that, hey, you shouldn't be playing this well as rookies. There's a lot that they are overcoming. Is this sustainable on a scale of 1 to 10, Nick, just like our listeners are doing? Could you answer us, in your opinion, how legitimate is this Cincinnati Reds team, in your opinion?
If we're just talking 2023, I mean, I'd probably say somewhere in the middle, maybe like a 5 or 6, which I know might surprise people, because people think of me as the guy that's only positive. I mean, I think long term, yeah, it's sustainable. There's just player after player after player that's going to, like, there's so many players that haven't even reached the big leagues yet that are ridiculously talented. This year, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a wait and see. You know, the rotation that the Reds are running out there right now, it's hard for me to look at that and say, yeah, those guys are for sure going to win the NL Central this year. But could they? Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, the Milwaukee Brewers have a ton of flaws. The Pirates and Cubs have even more flaws. And the Cardinals, God only knows what's going on in St. Louis. So, yeah, it's a winnable division. But just because it's a winnable division doesn't mean the Reds are going to win it with so many young players that are unproven, but they just night after night continue to do it. But I did like what you said about the brand of baseball. I got a stat for you here, Justin. Reds have 35 stolen bases this month. next best team is at 26. Like, just how much fun is that to watch?
No, and it is. And the thing that's wild about this is, like, as hot as this team is collectively, Nick, no one's playing out of their minds, right? Like, no one's like having an MVP season. I mean, you're going to have rookie of the year conversations with some of these guys, but like, they're doing all of this. Like, I mean, obviously, with what they're doing, as far as the steals are concerned, I mean, it's just the brand of baseball that they are playing. It's just the hustle and everything else that goes into the style of play for this team. What's crazy, and the reason I think it's sustainable for the year, is because it's not like they're going through this and it's only because so-and-so is just hot right now. Like, no one is just hitting the snot out of the ball. No one's like playing out of their mind. I think it's a sustainable attack, especially from the lineup, especially offensively. But what about your perspective from how much longer can they go with this makeshift rotation? The bullpen is obviously one of the best in baseball, but eventually the lack of depth and strength in the rotation could take one of the best bullpens in baseball and wear that down as time goes on. How sustainable is it from the pitching standpoint, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the five guys there's actually technically four right now in the rotation. That's not going to last. Now, Graham Ashcraft, it sounds like he's going to return this weekend. His return is huge for this team. And how does he look? If he looks anywhere close to the Graham Ashcraft we saw earlier in the year, okay, all of a sudden you have two guys that you really like with Andrew Abbott and Graham Ashcraft. And then Hunter Green, I don't think he's going to be out that long. And then all of a sudden you have three, and it starts, piecing together a little bit better. But if Graham Ashcraft comes back this week and looks like he looked for the last however many starts it's been, it's a really challenging rotation, because guys like Ben Lively, guys like Brandon Williamson, they're probably going to come back down to earth. Luke Weaver, though, I mean, I still feel like he's a lot better than what his ERA is. So I don't know, maybe he's better. This is just such a weird season, Justin, where every expectation that I've had, it just keeps feeling like it gets thrown out the window, and I keep having to adjust my expectations for the season. So I never had a season where I had such a difficult time figuring out how good the team is, but they're still as enjoyable as I've ever remembered.
Obviously, recently some comments from Nick Krall, of course, about regarding the deadline, which of course, when I hear people bring up the trade deadline, I'm like, oh, stop, that's a while away. And I'm like, I guess it's about a month away. I mean, we're not that far off. I mean, the All-Star break's here in a few weeks, but the trade deadline's always a date that we circle on the calendar. And I'm like, all right, we're about to bid farewell to our favorites, but it sounds like the Reds are going to be buyers as they're in the midst of contending at this moment. Of course, a lot can change in a month, but when you hear that they're potentially going to be buyers at the deadline, when you hear that, what does that mean? We've seen them be aggressive in the deadline in the past, in years technically that they didn't anticipate being competitive, but they acquired guys for the to attack the future, like the Trevor Bauer move years ago. If they ended up sneaking into the playoffs with him in the rotation, then so be it. But that was like a move that was really made for the 20 season. So how aggressive do you anticipate the Reds being? Are they going to go real aggressive and get big names, or is this just about names that kind of make sense to kind of help keep this train along for the 2023 year?
Yeah, I mean, what you said first is very important to remember. I mean, remember on June 9th, the Reds were 6 games under 500. So things can change pretty quickly. So what we see right now, and it might not be what we see in 4 or 5 weeks, and some of that will sort itself out. I can't see the Reds being aggressive and making any trades where they're giving up any of their top prospects. I just don't see that. Maybe there's a major league for major league type trade. I could see the Reds, with maybe a player like Jonathan India, as polarizing as that is, maybe looking at something like that. I think realistically, if the Reds are still in the race, you're probably looking at the Reds trying to, number one, make some moves like they made in 2021. Remember when they acquired the 3 relievers, Given, Sessa, and Wilson, and they didn't really give up all that much. I could see moves like that. And then I can see the Reds really potentially looking at maybe a pitcher that's more of a salary dump, like a guy like Lance Lynn. I think he's still at about $7 million. Hasn't been great this year, but I think, change of scenery for Lance Lynn. He is a veteran starter. He's looked much better his last couple starts. You could probably get him for basically just taking on money. And the Reds, it looks like this weekend they're going to have an incredible crowd. I'm sure they weren't, when they looked through their financials, expecting sellouts potentially in June, right? So maybe they do have a little bit of extra money to make a move like that. But I can't see them giving up any pieces, even like guys that are a long way away. I know people say, well, just trade some of these guys that are in like Daytona. I don't see the Reds doing that if they really like those players right now.
So, and again, when fans hear deadline, they're reaching for the stars, right? So the names that get thrown out constantly, and everyone has a wish list. And of course we want the big names too, but you hear names like Bieber from the Guardians or an Aroldis Chapman from the Royals, of course. Like the likelihood of any of those names being a realistic target for the Reds, in your opinion, are what? And I'm sure it goes back to your point of obviously it's what you have to give up to get it, but the Reds are a lot further along than we anticipated. So you don't want to react out. You don't want to steer too far away from the plan you had coming into the year, but you do have to adjust because of where the team is at right now, like you just talked about. But when you hear those big names, what's the reality or realistic possibility of going after names like that? Would you like to see an Aroldis Chapman return or a name like that?
Sure. I mean, it'd be great to have them. Bieber, I would be absolutely shocked. I just think there's going to be another team that needs a starting pitcher that's willing to give up more prospects than the Reds will be willing to. Chapman, maybe. I don't know what his value is, so I don't know what they're asking. I've also seen some reports that Chapman, they may be looking to package with someone like that the Royals are trying to get rid of some salary. So that could be a way maybe you get Chapman without digging too deep into their prospects. I think the Reds are pretty dead set on we're keeping prospects. We're stockpiling prospects. Doesn't matter if we're in first place or fifth place. We're going to keep stockpiling them, and that's going to be our way to sustain success.
It's kind of like, what was it, the Alex Wood and Farmer and Puig deal years ago with the Dodgers, like something like that, where the Dodgers were just looking to cut ties and money with a bunch of guys. Obviously, they were going after Alex Wood, and that Farmer ended up being the most valuable of them all. But like a move like that is what you're alluding to. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's kind of exactly the move. Although the Dodgers ate a ton of payroll with Homer Bailey, so maybe a little bit different than that. But if it was not Homer Bailey, yeah, I think that type of deal makes more sense. So to sum up, Nick Kirby does not have Bieber fever. Sorry, Reds fans. That's not what's happening. But all right, Nick Kirby. Nick, tell everyone, I was telling everyone a little bit about the work you were doing before bringing you on. But sometimes I struggle staying up to the end of Reds games, and you're working after Reds games. Tell everyone about your podcast, your live post-game podcast, and then, of course, every morning as well. I mean, you're putting a lot of work into this, and it's a really good product. I saw that you guys are moving up, the charts on the Apple iTunes and everything like that. I think that's pretty dang cool. But just tell our listeners where they can find your content.
Well, I'm sure it's a lot about the Reds playing well, more so than me. I don't think if this team was 20 games under 500, we'd be as high on the charts. But nonetheless, it's been a lot of fun. We do post-game shows on YouTube after every single Reds game. We usually go live about the ninth inning. That's on Chatterbox Sports on YouTube. And then we also kind of turned that into a podcast version, but a lot better cleaned up and condensed into, typically about 30, 40 minutes. For your next morning. So if you can't stay for the show, we'll have a nice little recap of the game and some conversation for you on your drive to work or however you get your day started.
All right, good stuff. Nick Kirby. Nick, thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Justin.
All right, good stuff. Reds off tonight. They'll be back in action tomorrow. Reds, Braves, a battle of two of the hottest teams in baseball. Both teams with significant win streaks on the line. The Braves have won 7 straight. The Reds have won 11 straight. And one of those two teams' win streak will potentially come to an end tomorrow night right here on 1410 Wing AM. Kidder and Kev, 1410 ESPN Radio. We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Well, the forecast says a chance of showers in 63 tonight. Rain is likely Friday. We'll have a high of 76. And Saturday, a chance of showers and thunderstorms and a high of 86. Rick Schrempf for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Carol Wirtz Tire and Auto Service at 730 South Patterson in Dayton, where they treat every vehicle like their own and every customer like family. Online at c-wtire.com.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code TRUST at checkout. That's harrys.com, code TRUST. Enjoy!
Want to feed your family without breaking the bank? Take a trip to Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken and pick up a 16-piece family meal at a great price. With 16 pieces of our classic honey-dipped, hand-breaded Famous Recipe Chicken, 4 craveable large sides, and 8 fluffy biscuits. It's affordable eats done right. Treat your crowd to the best for less with a Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken 16-piece family meal. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Now try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/FREE.
The year is almost half over and you're still dealing with that knee or hip pain. Enough is enough. Pills are not the answer. Surgery is not the answer. You need to call QC Kinetics today. Hey, it's Keith Byers. The advanced regenerative medicine solutions at QC Kinetics can give you a life without chronic joint pain. You can do all those summer activities you used to enjoy. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in taking healing properties from your own body and applying them right into your achy joint, so your joint tissue can be repaired and restored naturally. This treatment is truly revolutionary. Patients across America are having life-changing results, and there's no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. If you have pain in your knees, back, shoulders, hips, you need to stop what you're doing and call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. Learn how the latest advances in regenerative medicine can give you your life back. Call 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325.
Hey Dayton, have you heard? Chevrolet of Troy has you covered for all your auto service needs. We're proud to offer a state-of-the-art dealership with experienced service, parts, and body shop. In fact, we're the only dealership in Miami County with an on-site body shop. We make it easy with experienced professionals ready to diagnose your vehicle with the goal to get you back on the road quickly. That's right, Chevrolet of Troy is your best choice for service, parts, and body shop. 1375 South Market Street and online at ChevroletofTroy.com.
Update your garage with 11% off Chamberlain garage door openers at Menards. Chamberlain's innovative MyQ Wi-Fi technology gives you peace of mind, allowing you to open, close, and monitor your garage door from anywhere using your smartphone. Get a half-horsepower Wi-Fi chain drive model for $129.99 after 11% rebate now at Menards. Good through June 25th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
He might not have a badge, but we have faith in his killer instinct. Celebrate the 10th anniversary of famed detective priest, Father Brown. Stream the new season now, only on BritBox.
That sounds like a marvelous plan.
Plus, watch even more unofficial detectives in much-loved series, including Agatha Christie's Marple, Murder in Provence, and more. Expect intriguing mystery. Expect the Undetectives. Start streaming today at BritBox.com.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Uma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Uma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Uma?
Yep. Switching to Uma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Uma.
Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at Uma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
Discover credit cards do something awesome at the end of your first year. They automatically double all the cash back you've earned. That's right. Everything you've earned doubled. See terms and check it out for yourself at discover.com/match.
Jeff Graham.
Trotwood's coach. Okay.
Trotwood. Yeah, Trotwood coach Jefferson County. And I always, I'm supposed to get out there later in the springtime. I'm going to come see him later in the spring. But I used to spend a lot of time when we played together at the Jets in Dayton, Ohio with him. I'm familiar with Bob Evans, as I always tease him. But, man, only good food place y'all got out there. Bob Evans.
Don't miss the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Kenner and Kev right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. A scale of 1 to 6. How legitimate are your Cincinnati Reds?
Why you go to 6?
Oh, shoot. I almost said the other word. Scale of 1 to 10. My bad. Fumble!
Oh, you really did mess up? I thought you was being serious.
I really messed up. My bad. That's my 33 years old, and that's my first mistake. Not bad. Is that the lying bell now?
Yeah. Cat bell.
Anyways, welcome back. Kenner and Cab 1410 Wing AM. Nick Kirby, Chatterbox Sports. Awesome enough to spend some time with us. Again, going live after every game. We joked about it earlier, but like imagine doing that after like the NFL is not bad. Buckeyes not bad. 1 day a week, 162 games a year, and he hasn't missed one yet. They're on right away. But no, they do a good job. Appreciate him hanging out with us. We got Tom Nichols coming up here. What time we got? Is it? Wow, it is 4:27.
Yes,
so he's going to join us in 8 minutes. 4:35. Tom Nichols hops on with us. So looking forward to chatting it up with him. The Dragons, the first half of the minor league season wraps up after tonight.
Wow.
So yeah, that's how quickly everything. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
Usually we, at this point of the year, we're like, my gosh, you're still of July and August of in September of baseball left. Now I'm like, man, we only got 3 months of baseball left. We're having fun. Time flies when you're having fun.
Winning is fun.
Yep. Dragons back at home, by the way. They're at home tonight. They're at home heading into the weekend. And a lot of their top prospects, pitching prospects. They got, I think, the second best pitching staff in the minor leagues. It's pretty dang impressive collectively, ERA-wise. So pretty fun stuff there. Aguiar, I think, is not on the mound tonight. He'll be on the mound tomorrow. And then Sunday, another good name in Acuna will be on the mound for your Dayton Dragons. So go and check them out. How about the submarine vessel story with the Titanic and everything? I just went to Gatlinburg last week, and we, it's all the touristy stuff down there, but we went and did the Titanic museum tour and all that stuff, and then come back a week later, and then all this is happening where they're going down. $250,000 each. I think 5 individuals were on this vessel that unfortunately I think have lost their lives. I don't think that's up for debate anymore, but I can't think of, thinking of death is horrible anyways, but I can't think of a worse way. There's worse ways, but don't get me wrong, but like that's terrifying. The ocean scares the hell out of me.
Yeah.
We go to the beach every year. We go out into the ocean on the catamaran and all that stuff.
Can you swim?
I think so. I could try not to drown if I got thrown out into a situation, but no, I'm terrified of the ocean.
Okay, so I'm a non-swimmer, even though I passed swimming in high school. But swimming in a pool versus swimming in the ocean are two totally different things. It's something called a current and fish life, marine life are out there. I only go up to like my waist whenever I go to like the beach. Like I'm terrified.
Yeah, I've got stung by a jellyfish. Just
wow,
not even being in the water. Just step the
you
damn
pee
things,
on it.
They come. Heck no, I didn't even know. So I got sunburned. I know. I mean, I'm pale as a ghost. I'm a little dark right now from the summer. But went to Florida one year. My best friend got married there, and I went pale as a ghost. Hadn't been out that much, and my foot was swollen as can be, and I had sun poisoning, or at least I thought, because I had gotten so much sun. I didn't put enough sunscreen on. Blah, blah, blah. I thought it was just sun poison. My foot and ankle and leg had just swollen up like you would not believe. And then I get back and go to the doctor it was a jellyfish sting. Like I had stepped on one because, my fat behind wasn't getting in the ocean. I have to take my shirt off to get in the ocean. I ain't taking my shirt off. I'm walking, being romantic, holding the wife's hand, looking like Professor Clump, my legs all swollen up and stuff. I'm like, just saying. But to find out it's a jellyfish sting.
Ouch.
So, and it hurt. It burned. I just thought it was
on a scale of 1 to 10.
1 to 6.
What was the pain like?
It was a sunburn. I mean, I thought it was a sunburn pain, so it stung and it was uncomfortable, and it was the swelling and all that. But I don't remember when it happened. Let's just
yeah. I got sunburn when it was a while ago when I was in Miami. Yes, I can get sunburn too. Shoulders bright red. Like,
were you in Miami? What were you doing? Was that a different time or?
Different time. But yeah, it was in Miami, and that was the Orlando.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now, if it was Miami, I probably wouldn't have came back. But anyway, I was in Miami on the beach doing what you were doing, the whole romantic thing, hanging out the beach, doing the 1-2 thing. And then we go out to dinner that night, and I'm putting on my shirt, and I'm like, ouch, ow. Like, and then the wife is like, I think you got sunburn. It's like, black people can't get sunburn. She's like, okay. Next day, shoulders peeling, neck peeling, red as that jersey over there.
Wait. So I'm not at the risk of sounding insensitive in today's world. But you turned red?
Yes, bright red.
How do black people turn red?
At sunburn.
I try to that's interesting. I mean,
I got the pictures.
You could see how this could turn red. This is like pink.
I didn't believe it, and then I called my mom, and she's I can't even tell you what she said on the radio. I'll tell you when we get off there. But she was highly disappointed. She said, "You didn't put any sunblock on?" I was like, "Yeah." It's like, how many coats? I was like, the one that we put on when we left the hotel. Like, you didn't put any more on when you were at the beach for 7 hours. It's like, no.
I refuse, and I always put sunscreen on, either too late or not at all. But you can't do that in Florida.
No.
I mean, it's bad enough when I go to the lake. I'm going to the lake. Actually, going to the lake this weekend. That the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer. They have a little branch thing that they do over at Indian Lake, and it's the JR Memorial. Like Bobby Carpenter, they have a bunch of Buckeyes.
What about JT?
I hung out with JT there a few years ago. I never told him, all my stuff. Took a picture with him. Big fan.
I can't wait to meet him. Can't wait.
JT Barrett.
Can't wait to meet him when you're there, so I can tell him how much of a fan of him you
I'm
truly
not
are.
Anti JT Barrett. I'm just a realist. Some people like it, some people don't.
Greatest quarterback in Ohio State history, stat-wise.
Statistically, the best quarterback ever.
That's why I don't look at stats.
Oh, now who's hating?
I'm just saying.
Okay.
And that's why I don't look at stats. Stats tell you he's the best. Your eyeballs tell you something different.
No, Urban Meyer was there last year. He was kind of hiding off into the side.
Herbs.
Yeah, he was at Indian Lake on vacation from his time in Florida. So, what?
Remember that call we got when Herb was up there in Columbus, and the caller said, I don't even know if I can repeat it on the air. Something about fingers and derrieres.
Ken and Cat, 1410 ESPN Radio. Let's talk. Kev, you are way too inappropriate. I am so disappointed in you.
I got that audio on my phone somewhere.
You're very immature for a 30-something. I'm just all right, good stuff. Tumani Kamara, he's drafted tonight, right? Like when we come here, he's not going to be an undrafted free agent, right?
Middle of the second round.
Middle of the second round. I'm real curious how his game will translate into the NBA. I mean, he's 3 years. It's the one and done. That's not what he was.
Mm-hmm.
Really good 2 years ago. Very, very good this last year. In fact, there was a point where he was in the talks to be the player of the year. or at least you could have made an argument that the two guys on the Flyers should have been in contention for Player of the Year. I think, obviously it's going to be hard to dethrone Deron Holmes, who ultimately didn't get it. Obviously, the point guard from VCU, who transferred out, by the way, didn't get it. But that's how wild. That's why this past season for Dayton was so weird. Oh, we're not good because of injuries. We're all this 20-plus win team. You're second in the conference. You have 2 NBA guys, potentially 3 NBA guys on your roster, and you guys are crying about injuries. Give me a damn break. Chumani Kamara was dominant, and him and Deron Holmes played very well off of one another. But you saw some of those like leagues and the camps that he went to in the pre-draft workouts and stuff. Like, Anthony Grant's just this walk it up half court snooze fest of an offense. And in his defense, a lot of that had to do with lack of guard play. You don't want to run your bigs up and down when that's your only offensive threat. So it's not like Anthony Grant's purposely running a slow tempoed offense for that reason. It was because of the weapons or lack thereof that he had at guard. But with that being said, it was fun watching some of those highlights of when you allowed Chumani Kamara to get up and down the floor and just be a freak athlete. I think that's why you see some guys go to the NBA that didn't make names for themselves in college, but are a household name because of the way they break out in the NBA. Chumani, maybe that's him. Maybe that's his game. We'll see what happens. So, Tom Nichols, voice of the Dayton Dragons. He joins us next, 1410 Wing AM.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
$5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers with excellent work history. If that's you, apply now. Cordell Transportation offers home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight, and brand new equipment, plus a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, and company 401k with company match. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Bring that big bet energy this summer with Superbook Sports. Bo Bishop here, and Superbook Sports is the most trusted name in sports betting. And right now, use the promo code ColumbusFan to score up to $250 with their first bet bonus. Win or lose, they will match your first bet up to $250 with the promo code ColumbusFan. Simply visit Superbook.com for terms and conditions or download the Superbook Ohio app in the App Store today. Enter the promo code ColumbusFan and you'll get $250 courtesy of Superbook Sports. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Do you or any of your family members, neighbors, or friends own a property that you just want to be done with it? If so, call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you to take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. Call 614-470-2000. That's 614-470-2000.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Now try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/FREE.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
This is Keith Byers for Superbook Sports. You spend valuable time thinking about which bets to place each week. So why wouldn't you want the best company in the business to be the one who handles those bets? Superbook Sports is the most trusted name in